Good afternoon. We're going to try a little different strategy this time on our monthly superintendent's update. This month, we're going to do everything via the internet, and so we're doing what we might call a tape delay methodology here, but we're going to go through the same process that we always have and go through the agenda that the board dealt with last night. I'm actually generating this video on Wednesday, the 14th of February, and it's going to be available for you after this particular point in time. As always, if you've got questions about anything on the agenda or otherwise, feel free to shoot me an email or come by the office, whatever's most convenient for you. So we'll go through the board agenda. You should see it back over my right shoulder here. Spent quite a bit of time this month on our audit report. We have new auditors this year over the previous several years. Carrie John Patton and company out of the Tulsa area. They are new auditors, and Mr. Patton came down last night and went over the audit with the board. I would tell you that he was very complimentary of all the staff members that have a hand in making sure that the audit goes well and everything's done properly. Finance staff, anyone that deals with various activity fund kinds of functions, etc. But again, we got a very clean audit, no audit concerns or exceptions at all, and certainly a great deal of that credit goes to the finance staff. Brett Byram updated the board a little bit on some operations items last night. Let me try to hit a few of those for you to give you some updates on the projects that I've mentioned 2 or 3 times. First of all, the roofing project that will be associated with the G-Wing. Basically, it's the area that is over Business and Career Services, their office space, the graphic design classroom, and the copy center, along with the industrial training area. That entire roof area will be replaced. Hopefully they'll be starting within the next 2 to 3 weeks on that. Shouldn't really have any kind of a disruptive effect on students or classrooms, etc. And it's one of those roofing projects we needed to get done given the condition of the roof. The other item would be the auditorium or the seminar center renovation. That particular project is ongoing, and we will not be able to actually begin the renovation of the seminar center until actually after signing day. And so we'll start somewhere right after the 26th of April, and hopefully by mid to late June, and we'll have a completely renovated auditorium. It'll give us about 60 more seats in the auditorium and reconfigure it to give us a lot more space, and that will be a good project as well. A couple of other projects. We're in the midst of trying to get pricing for an upgrade on our early care fencing and the playground area. Mr. Byram, Mr. Saunders, both are working on trying to get some things taken care of there. Hopefully within the next month to 6 weeks, we'll have all the pricing there and be able to, over the course of the summer, really improve the safety and the security, especially of the playground for our little children that join us each and every day. The other project that will take place this summer that we don't have bids on at this particular point in time, that our architect is working on, is going to be replacement of the remaining portion of the road around the main campus. We did part of that 2 summers ago, and we will pick up on the west side of campus where the last renovation stopped, and we'll continue on around the north side of the campus all the way to basically where the east parking lot roadway intersects on the east side, or kind of the northeast side of the campus. And they'll also be doing a couple of other things in conjunction with that. The road that basically starts right at the 4-way stop on the south side of campus That will get some renovation all the way to the curb to the east. And then we're looking at expanding some parking and improve substantially some drainage in the gravel area between operations and H-wing. All of that will be affected as well. A couple of other minor items that we'll be working on over the course of the next few weeks and months will be, we're going to try and do some tree planting. Mr. Byram and Mr. Saunders have been working diligently on that. A lot of our Bradford pears on the South Drive and other places have been hit repeatedly by ice storms and things of that nature, and so we're going to try to do some improvements there aesthetically. You'll see the large shrubs at our south entrance be removed as well. Again, just trying to do some general updates that you always need to do around any campus. We also have another project, hopefully will take place this summer, which will be the renovation of some restrooms in D and E wing, and those are all kind of in the architect's hands at this particular point in time. Mr. Perry, I asked him to provide the board with an update on our PTA, our Physical Therapist Assistant program and its status, Medical Lab Technology program and its status, and our court reporter. I'll give you a little bit of an update there. PTA program at the end of April, this coming April, there'll be a couple of folks from Gordon Cooper and a couple of folks from Seminole State that make the trek to Virginia for what is known as a reconsideration of our application. And we will know right after we sit in and are asked questions and make presentations to the National CAPTI Board what the status of that PTA program is. Seminole State currently has 10 students that are primed and ready to go, and we receive 3 or 4 calls every single day about PTA, and so we're very, very hopeful that CAPTI, the accrediting body, will see fit to approve our program, and we can get started on that in August of 2018. The MLT program is going very, very well. They informed us recently that they have twice as many students now than they have ever had in the history of their program. I can't say that I'm completely surprised by that, but they're doing really good work. Got a lot of great partners out there in the private sector that are very excited about what they're doing, and Ms. Hankel and Ms. Browning are doing a really good job there, and we're happy to be a part of that particular program. The last program is our court reporter program. We have 10 young people that are in that program right now. They started on January the 22nd with our new instructor, Malia Melton, and they are working diligently every single day. We started with 10, we still have 10. It's a pretty long and arduous process for those young folks, like a lot of our programs, but I think we've got all the things in place to try to help make them pretty successful. So all 3 of those programs, the 2 that are up and going are going very well. The PTA program, hopefully in August we'll have, well actually hopefully in May, the very beginning of May, we'll have really good news, and in August we'll have another hopefully 12 to 16 students on campus involved in PTA technical training. Item 6 behind me says discussion regarding status of public safety facility. The next big project in the queue that we're working on involves expanding and or creating a situation where we can really be engaged in several aspects of the public safety community. We've been doing, or hosting rather, law enforcement training for current law enforcement officers for the last several years, very successfully. Last year, the number of individuals that came on this campus for law enforcement training numbered about 3,000 people. So we've been doing a lot there. What we're looking at, and we're still in the planning stage, there's no final decisions that have been made, but we have every intention to move forward. We're looking at creating a facility probably on the main campus. Right now, tentatively, we're looking south of Diesel And in that footprint, you would see a couple of fire training facilities, and then a larger facility that would serve as classroom kinds of environment for fire training, for law enforcement, for a high school law enforcement program, and then paramedic. There might be some other space for some other kinds of things, but our initial salvo as it relates to a public safety offering will be those three aspects of public safety: fire safety, law enforcement, and then the paramedic piece. And so I told the board last night when they come to the March board meeting, I'll have even more information for them, and probably at that point in time we may ask the board to go ahead and begin working with the architect on some tentative drawings and move forward. We're looking probably at a facility and a high school program specifically that wouldn't be available until August of 2019. So it takes a while to make some of those dreams come true, so to speak. Next item dealt with our surplus items, and you see those. And as always, all of these, the board agenda and past meeting minutes are on the website. You can go to gctech.edu and go under About, and I think you see a tab called Board Meetings, and you can see agendas, etc. there. So we had some out-of-state travel requests that we approved as well. Lacey DiLibero, who is one of our PTA instructors, will be going to a meeting there in Conway, Arkansas. That will hopefully be another benefit to us when we do our reconsideration hearing at the end of April. We've got a trip for our LPN staff to a nurse educator training. And then for the last several years, Mr. Jolly and several of the diesel students have gone to Denton, Texas, kind of a there and back situation, to tour and visit with the folks at the Peterbilt truck plant there in Denton, Texas. And then the last trip involves myself and Lacey for the reconsideration hearing there in Alexandria, Virginia. Number 9 deals with approval of some job descriptions. The court reporter instructor, obviously it's already in place. We added a staff member to our fleet and grounds, and we have, out of necessity, moved into more bus mechanic work, and that will just simply increase over the course of time. And so now we will have 2 individuals in our operations and our maintenance group that can work on the buses and work on other kinds of fleet vehicles that we have in and around the campus. The IT systems administrator, hopefully here in the next couple of days, we've got some good news on that position. We upgraded the expectations of that particular role pretty substantially, and hence bringing that to the board in the form of a job description change. Last 2 items are new titles. They're not completely new in terms of the roles that have been present at Gordon Cooper Technology Center, but I asked the board the ability to not only have these job descriptions approved, but also to move forward with trying to have some folks fill these positions. Director of Partner School Outreach would actually be a replacement of sorts of several different positions that we've had in the past. But as I mentioned to the board last night, we have an entire department on campus called Business and Career Services, whose primary focus is to provide services to very important customers that we have, and that would be business and industry. Well, there's another pretty important customer that we have called partner schools. We've got 27 of those, and so this person is going to be charged with a lot of directing, with providing the appropriate leadership and implementing different strategies for Carl Perkins, for Online Consortium, for STEM outreach, and other new and innovative kinds of things that we will do in concert with our partner schools. And so that position is out there, and you'll see over the coming couple of days an internal posting for that position. And as always, if you'd like to see the job description, that's certainly available to you if you'd like. The Director of Internal Excellence, many years ago, we had a couple of other folks that were involved in some of these kinds of things, and over the course of time chose not to replace those. Well, we have found over the course of time that we're missing out on some different things that need to be taken care of. The internal excellence person will have some, and I emphasize some because it's not the exclusive purpose for this position, but they'll have some HR responsibilities. And one of the big roles for this person is going to be just trying to put in place as many different kinds of processes and procedures and programs to really provide enhanced support to everything we do at Gordon Cooper as it relates to what I'm going to call the internal customer, and that would be the staff. So those are two new positions, and you'll see those in the coming days be advertised internally, and then we'll go from there. Under items 10, 11, 12, all the way through I think about 16, we've got some different personnel items. Miss Christy Strickland has decided that she is going to resign after I think, I'll just say 30 plus years in education. She has given her life, in essence, to kids, from her time at Strother Public Schools to her last 10 or 11 years here at Gordon Cooper, and we certainly wish her nothing but the best. But she is going to retire, and her last day will be May 31st, and we will be advertising for that position as well very soon. Next item, Mr. Farnsworth, Joshua Farnsworth. That is the position I referenced just a moment ago, an additional mechanic. Now, as Mr. Farnsworth understands, some mechanic work is done on a mower and a weed eater as well. So it's kind of all hands on deck at certain times of the year in operations and maintenance. But one of his primary roles is going to be to help with fleet maintenance, and that's everything from weed eaters to mowers to tractors to automobiles to buses, etc. He's going to be involved in all of that. Item 14, John Hill will start actually later this week, and he is in the position that Andrew Adams was in for a few years, and so John is our replacement there, and we're excited to have him. Had a resignation also of one of our bus drivers, and then item 16 deals with adult training, evening instructors, etc. Did a little change in our salary schedule for our support employees that fall under the technicians, and the primary reason that we did that is provide some flexibility from a wage standpoint on some of our IT positions, specifically that system administrator position. We didn't have the flexibility we needed currently, and so we changed some wording. Actually, the dollar amounts didn't change, but we gave ourselves some ability in the wording to be able to recognize when someone has some high-level computer technology certifications. We wanted to be able to reward that within that salary schedule. That's what 17 deals with. Items 18, 19, 20, 21, etc. are all finance-related items. 22, 23, 24 standard items as well. I will close with my comments this afternoon with just a little update as far as the state capitol is concerned. I don't have a lot of information for you. Collectively, you all read the news and see the news and all of those kinds of things. The normal legislative session that starts the first Monday in every February and ends the last Friday in every May. That's the duration of a legislative term or a legislative session. At least that's supposed to be the length. We also, and this is going to sound strange, At the same time we've got a regular session, we have the special session, actually the second special session that the governor called, going on simultaneously. You're probably aware that Monday of this week, the House of Representatives at the state capitol ran some legislation and attempted to put together a package that would actually deal with some of the budget crises that are kind of buffeting our state at this particular point in time. Unfortunately, in the state of Oklahoma, many years ago, there was a state question called State Question 640 that the public voted on, and when they voted on it, they voted that never could a tax be raised in the state of Oklahoma without either a vote of the people or 75% approval by both the House of Representatives and the Senate at the state level. That threshold's pretty tough. And so what happened Monday of this week is that legislation was defeated. It was defeated not because it didn't get a majority. I think there were actually 68 votes for it, but it takes 76 votes to pass a tax increase. And they could not get the 76 votes necessary. So right now, as it relates to the current fiscal year, that's what we call FY 2018, what I believe is going to happen either later this week or early next week is they will cut budgets across the state, including the one that affects Gordon Cooper, to the tune of right about $45 million. I don't know right now what that's going to look like for Gordon Cooper because they have not told us whether they're going to do that just pro rata share across all entities that get state dollars, or if they're going to hold some parts of state government harmless. If they do that, then our cut could be much higher than if they do a pro rata share. So theoretically, we could see anywhere from an additional $27,000 cut over our cut at the beginning of the year, which was $137,000, or the low water cut would be $27,000. If they went to 3% or higher, our cut would be $82,000. If they went all the way to 5%, then it just starts getting larger and larger and larger. I was at a superintendent's meeting earlier today in Lincoln County, and it was very difficult for our K-12 folks to have anything positive to even speak about. Although we've not been immune from cuts at Gordon Cooper, since 2009, we've received almost $800,000 worth of cuts from the state at Gordon Cooper. And that's real money. I expect cuts to continue. I expect that we're going to see somewhere between 1 to 4% cuts with this $40 to $45 million cut that they're looking at for this fiscal year. And then there's probably a pretty good chance that they may cut again next year. It's very likely that we may see cuts since 2008 approaching $1 million, if not by FY19, certainly by FY20. At some point in time, we're going to have some relief, and that time is coming pretty quickly. So I'm sorry I don't have anything better for you there from a financial standpoint, but that's what's happening at the Capitol. I would encourage you to pay attention to that, to stay tuned with that. The reality is that there's a lot of programmatic kinds of things that we could have done had we had the same level of funding that we had 9 years ago. And when you don't have that funding, then what you just simply try to do is keep as close to the status quo as you possibly can. And to a certain extent, that's where we're at this particular juncture. So with that, I want to thank everybody. Appreciate your allowing me to maybe provide a little different way to present this information this time. I'll go back live probably in the month of March. My plan is tentatively to go over to the aviation campus after the March board meeting, and we'll kind of continue that if we can. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.